Pain?
Mobility is.
I didn't hear you there.
Oh, risk factors, sorry. Pregnancy?
Pregnancy is one of those. Every year you have one of these. As you get older, you have a higher risk associated with patients who have a DVT.
I want to say surgery, but is it more specific orthopedic surgery or?
Orthopedic surgeries are a source. Anytime you have a person that has anything that has to do with bones, because that's the possibility of a fat embolus. Fat embolus are less likely to happen, but anytime you have long bone fractures, bone surgeries, or surgeries where the patient's going to be laying flat for a long time. It's not quite the same as immobility, but you know they got a big surgery that's going on. Maybe you have a person that's going to have Whipple. The Whipple procedure is something that when they first came out, because when I was working, people would go in there and those are pancreatic cancer patients. And so they would do all these surgeries, and most of the time the patient was in the OR suite for 12 hours minimum that you would see. Now it's still about a 6-hour surgery depending on what they have to do for the patient. So fractures, Kim told us patients are there. Surgery on bones, or extensive time the patient is in surgery puts them at risk. Can also be from the diagnosis of cancer. Patients who have cancer as part of their diagnosis are more at risk for having thrombus. So DVTs are something that we worry about. And then for some of us in here, at some time in your life, even you have probably taken birth control pills or some type of birth control, or hormone replacement therapy, those types of things put you at risk. So birth control pills are one of those. Those are things that kind of put you at risk for more clotting. Okay, so this is what happens with your patients that you can actually have this happen to. So when you're in the hospital or when you're thinking about that setting for NCLEX and for testing, think about people at risk. Questions are going to come out there and say, this is what, this is related to, if I see a person who has one of these, I know this person's been traveling for 12 hours. They've been on a plane from London to United States or something like that. So sitting for a long period of time is going to put that person at risk, that immobility issue. Or a person that drinks a lot on a plane. Alcohol is dehydrating, which people don't sometimes think about. You just drink it because you just want to be okay on the plane. Think about all the stuff you're going to do when you get to where you're going. Kind of stuff. That's what Vegas people, if you ever ride to Vegas, people are lit up all the time. Going and coming. You just go sometimes go, what if I do on this plane with these people? Kind of thing. And they're having a good time all the way around. And you just ride with them and you think, oh, I hope I'm not sitting next to them. Kind of thing. But it's dehydrating, so they don't realize that height, that it makes you actually more apt to clot. Alcohol actually in a small amount is a good thing, but usually people on the plane don't think about it. They have several kind of thing. So that predisposes them when you're seeing the people that sit on planes for a long time, puts them at risk for having a thrombosis. Because what we worry about is this thrombus moving off, because once it breaks off, then it can go through and then it becomes an embolic event. So that's what we worry about, especially pulmonary embolism. When you see people who have been traveling for a long time and get off a plane and drop dead, that's usually what it is. They actually have a pulmonary embolus, and it comes from sitting for a long period of time. So these are going to be things that you look at for risk factors for those patients. And pretty much when you go to the hospital now, you'll actually see in the chart patients are on DVT prophylaxis. They write that in the admission order for the patient. Patient has no history of having a clot, but most everybody now, because that's one of the things they look at is thromboembolism, as far as one of those core measure type things they're looking for. So people, when they come in the hospital, when you look at progress notes, they're going to be on 2 types of prophylaxis. It's GI and then DVT prophylaxis. You see that in the orders, in the progress notes when patients are admitted to the hospital. So that means they're going to address those issues by putting the patient on a medication that prevents this from happening. But these would be the people that you look for at risk. Okay. Now, what we're going to do then is that we see that there's some type of thing that goes on where the patient actually has not been moving around or having this problem, and there's going to be some type of injury in the leg that you don't even think about. Okay? So that's that Virchow's triad thing. There's something that happens with the patient and we don't really see anything, because sometimes you can see that yes, there's an injury associated with it. I had this person fall and hurt themselves, but most of the time you don't see that. It's just something that happens. So there's three basic pieces that go with that triad. One of them is going to be intimal injury. All right. Maybe the purple one, right? Yes. So it's not always what you think, because most people think anytime you see injury, it has to be something profound, and I see this person get hurt. That's not what they're talking about. It's the innermost layer within the vascular system, you know, those endothelial layers that are there. So they can be injured just by you sitting for a long time or having your leg, you know, kind of balled up or something like that. So that's what it ends up happening. You have intimal injury. Then you have hypercoagulability. So that means you're more apt to clot. This sometimes happens especially if a patient is dehydrated. Okay, so that's that whole thing about drinking alcohol on a plane. Kind of puts you at perfect storm for having a DVT. So it makes you more apt to clot. So whatever your disease process, the cancer thing you see with that, or you have a person that has other issues going on, so it puts you more at risk for you developing clots in the first place. The last part of this is that whole thing about not moving. So you have venous stasis. So you do not have movement in the first place because you're just sitting there in one spot. So this is the perfect storm for you developing a clot and something named Virchow. Okay. He came up with this and said these are the three factors that we see that are there for this person developing a clot. So when this happens, I have some type of injury going on. So then you think about, oh, I see the person at risk, then I'm going to do things that actually look for a clot. The one thing you remember about them is you never do a whole lot of massaging on a leg you think has a clot, because you can make it embolic at that point. So what you usually see is unilateral swelling, meaning it's going to swell on the side that it's on. You're going to see some redness associated with that, so erythema along it, or the vein itself can be hard and tender. Because those are things you think about. I have a vein that's inflamed now because it's a deep vein of the leg. So I can have inflammation and swelling that are associated with that. So those are the things you see on physical exam for the patient. Now they used to say the Hohenstein was the test that we use, some other guy, that we use for patients who have DVTs, but that's only positive about 30% of the patients. And by doing or checking a Hohenstein, you can actually make the embolus move. So that's why we don't do that anymore. We used to do it all the time. And that's actually stretching out somebody's leg, and you push their toes toward their head really quickly, and it produces pain in the leg. But of course, what you end up doing sometimes is moving a clot. So no, we don't do that anymore. And it's only positive. I mean, you can go and have a test done, and you see it on a sonogram, you see it there, but yet the patient's Hohmann's is negative. So that's why it's not considered a test we do, or to actually do that, perform the skill on a patient, can make it an embolic event, so you don't do that. But what you're going to do is, if you have that person, I suspect that's going on, unilateral swelling, because it's only in the side it's happening on, tenderness, erythema, redness, that kind of stuff you're looking at in the area that's there for the patient. You always make sure you can feel pulses past that, because if it's a large thrombus, you can actually end up having problems as well. But you usually see that swelling because that affects venous return. So depending on how bad it is, or how big it is the more symptomatic your patient is going to be. Now what we have to do is, we know this is a clot, so how are we going to treat the patient? If thrombolysis is huge in impairing stuff, because generally if thrombolytics, if you see that they have decreased perfusion, you do that. Okay, but the conservative part first would be would be anticoagulants, I'm sorry. Alright, so anticoagulants are going to be used. Because we need to stop new clots from forming. The one thing you have to think about is a clot that is there is going to go through changes over time. The clot is going to, the clot is reabsorbed by the body. That's going to happen. You know, it has to go through lysis, all that, because there's different stages it goes through. So unless it's really big and it's causing a lot of problems, do you use thrombolytics? Because that is something that we can do. Most of the time you're going to see patients actually are going to go on an anticoagulant because once you have a clot, you're more apt to clot. So that's why we do that. What we usually do is heparin. And we usually put a patient on a drip. Okay, so what do we have to do before we start heparin? Does lab work first? Because how do I know if it works? Well, we got PTT is part of the monitoring piece. So we would do that before. You told me. I heard you. Do your CBC first, because remember I need to know if platelets are okay. I heard you say it. The main reason is because you need to know if platelet function is normal, because that's how you know anticoagulants will work. But the other thing is there's a condition called heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. Or HITS. I need to know if I have a person who drops their platelets, was it because something was wrong beforehand, or it's because I gave them heparin. Because if it's because of this, I can never give this patient heparin again. Okay, so that's why you have to know that ahead of time. So CBC, you need to know that platelet function is normal, that actually is something that works okay. And then the other part of it that your reason you're doing is because once I give this person heparin, if they have a drop in their platelets, because that's what you're looking for. If I have a big drop in platelets, I worry about whether it's heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. That's a big issue, because this means this person, if they ever have a clot again, I can never put them back on heparin, because that's going to be a cycle that happens every single time you put them on there. And what happens is this is actually a two-part syndrome, because some doctors just do it as HITS, but the other ones do it with both T's. It's because it also causes essentially what the person does is that yes, their platelets drop, but you also become prothrombic. So the patient almost is like a DIC type syndrome. No, you want to do a CBC first to make sure normal platelet function is happening. If you give a person heparin and their platelets drop, you wonder if this is the syndrome that they have. Because if they have it, you can never give them heparin again. Yeah.
I have a condition where I have low platelets, so would I not be able to, would they still try on heparin, and if they go below
A certain amount, yeah.
Then-
More than likely, if you ever had they would actually, you know how some doctors will just do stuff and then they'll call a hematologist? You would be a person they call a hematologist to ask if you can do it first, yeah.
Would they take you from off of heparin and put you on?
Yeah, they'll put you on something different. Yeah, because you still have to, the thing about it is once you have a clot, you're more apt to do it. And even if you resolve the clot in a couple of days, you still treat a patient for 6 to 9 months post a DVT. Because people think, oh, I just need to get treated till it's resolved. You are more apt to clot for months after you have one. So they're going to put you on, but they'll just put you on a different agent. We have newer ones, you know, those Xareltos and those are things, are newer ones that we have, Arixtra, that kind of stuff you didn't do it on. So a patient will just go on a different agent. But it's just like you have to, the bad part about it is you just can't generally stop it. I mean, if you got a person who has something with every drug you put them on, you just got to. But in general, we put them on a different agent and see whether or not we can treat them. Because the thing about it is and especially nowadays, you know, how everybody's worried about getting sick. They're thinking, oh, if you go home and have a stroke, then they can blame it on, oh, I didn't treat you long enough. But that's what people worry about, physicians especially worry about. Patients should worry about it too, but I'm just saying doctors really worry about it. They try to figure out what we need to do for that. So I'm going to put this person, yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of lost in it. PTT that monitors heparin, I INR monitor.
No, that's Coumadin.
That's Coumadin, okay.
Yeah. PT-INR. And you'll see when they actually start these on patients, they'll do both of these. They're going to do both of these. And they'll see if they're elevated in the beginning part of what's going on with this patient anyway. But CBC you have to do. Always, always. That's not just for me, that's for you as a nurse. PTT and PT-INR, just because they want to see where you are before we start therapy. This one is going to be used to monitor your response to heparin, so that I see where do I need to switch your drugs around, that kind of thing. Because in the hospital, what you're going to see is that when the patient comes in, the doctor's going to say, you know, this, I made this diagnosis, we did a, because you can actually do it by doing a sonogram, a venous Doppler. You can actually see it. You don't have to actually do the arterial side for looking at venous stuff. They usually do it with sonogram. So the patient's going to get the sonogram. We confirm that, yes, this patient has a DVT. I'm going to start you on medication. So there is a protocol that says I'm going to start you on high dose, medium dose, low dose heparin, depending on what's the age of the person. The doctors made that decision about that. So you know you already had questions on your math test. We give you a loading dose of something. All right, so that's what you try to do. What we used to do way back when, because I've been doing this for a while, used to just treat everybody universally. Okay, so if Diane came in the hospital and I came in the hospital, we two different sized people. But then we used to just treat everybody the same as far as medication goes. What they found out is if I tailor it to your size, that I got a better result, and you didn't end up having a lot of the complications that go along with heparin therapy. So that's why you see weight-based heparin now. So based on the person, then you're going to order the heparin that the person needs. So what they do is they're going to come in, you're going to give a loading dose based on whatever your doctor figures that you need to have. You're going to get that as an IV push, and then you're going to start on the drip. Okay, the reason that you have to give heparin in a drip is it has a half-life of only 30 minutes. So that's why you have to continuously give it in order to maintain anticoagulation, which is part of the reason what irritates me sometimes when I see people in the hospital disconnect patients to go to the bathroom. If they're in the bathroom for 30 minutes, it can alter your values. I got you therapeutic where you are. And there are some nurses that will do it. They disconnect people to go. I'm like, the pump has wheels. Push it to the bathroom. But they'll disconnect people to go in the bathroom. That's crazy to me what they'll do. Okay? So what you'll see is that based on you starting the patient on the medication, then the doctor's going to say give them so many units per hour. So you're infusing that. Most of the protocols at the hospital have you recheck the patient's PTT within an hour or 2 hours. Based on that value, you either up it or lower it. Okay? That's part of the reason why heparin is the unit dose is the same everywhere, no matter where you work in the country. You're going to get 25,000 units in a 500 cc bag. And the reason they do that is because most of the time when you change therapy, it's 500 units. So that's 2 cc's. So you're going up and down 2 cc's or 4 cc if you have to change it. Because what they do is based on that, there's going to be a graphic chart that says patient's PTT is within this range. You haven't reached therapeutic range yet because you want 1.5 to 2 times what your control is. It's going to tell you to adjust it up or adjust it down. If it's too high, you usually turn it off for an hour and restart at 100 units lower and then recheck it. But you're able to do that, and you may have to manipulate it for a few hours until you get that patient to a therapeutic PTT, and then it becomes, you check it every day. So that's how you can get a patient therapeutic within hours with heparin. Coumadin takes a couple of days. Okay, so that's why you'll have a person that's on their drip, they're therapeutic, I see my PTT where I want it to be, and then the doctor says start the patient on Coumadin. So then you start them on the pill and you think, oh my God, can I get both? Yes, you can. Different pathways by where they work. Blood clots on 14 different pathways. The medications work on different ones. Okay. So when you have that for the patient, you can start them on the Coumadin. They take a pill. You're going to do the PT-INR. It usually takes about, like I say, 2 to 3 days. So you're going to keep doing that blood work every day. You're looking at where the PTT is because that needs to remain therapeutic until you get the INR where you want it. Once the INR is where you want it, you can take off the heparin because that means you have the person on the dose they need to be on. So that's why your patient can take both agents at the same time. With the newer stuff, that's different. Patient doesn't achieve that right away. Patient just has a dosing pattern. They take so many milligrams for 20 days, then they take so many milligrams for 10 days, and then they take so many milligrams for the rest of the time they're taking their medications. And it's mainly because they work on a different pathway, and now we actually have one of them, which one is the one with the fish? I think that's the Ralto. Because I remember about commercials. That one now has an antidote. Because before, if I was me and I was a patient, I would never take any of them because I would rather have something, even though I'm taking rat poison, when you talk about taking gluten, there is an antidote. When you have heparin, there is an antidote. For those newer things, we didn't have antidotes yet, so now we have one. It's the one with the fish. I can't remember which one that is. I think it's the Ralto. So now there's the antidote for it. So now I would take it. Because that's the thing you think about, because I'm retarded like that. I'm thinking the worst case scenario. One of y'all might hit me, knock me down, kill me kind of thing. Cut me in the head, I go to the hospital. Nah, there's no antidote. I bleed to death or I have a trach. That's the worst case scenario. The trach is even worse than, kidney disease. But that's the kind of thing, if you have a person that had that problem, and I had a clinical instructor who had a pulmonary embolus. She was going on a cruise with her mom and fell while she was on a cruise ship, came back, had problems with her leg, found out she had a DVT, and ended up with a pulmonary embolus. Okay. She goes to, this is the crazy part, she ended up, that's even worse kind of thing. She ends up coming back home, going to Brandon Hospital. And they're doing a CT scan on her. Now she eats seafood all the time, never had a problem. But when she was in CT, they gave her a contrast dye, she had a reaction. The problem being is that anytime you give a person something with contrast dye, you would think that in the department you would have epi, you would have salbutamol. No. She's sitting there telling them, I'm having a reaction to this contrast dye. And they're telling her, we got to go back to the floor. And she's like, you mean you don't have stuff down here? If your patient has problems. I was like, what? This kind of thing. You should have Benadryl, you should have epinephrine, you should have Soluble. Those things should be down there where you are, when you're having this problem. So she's a nurse practitioner calling the floor and saying, look, you need to come down here because I'm having a reaction to it. That is crazy for a patient to have to do that kind of stuff. So they actually changed policy after the fact. But I'm thinking, this is somebody who knows what's going on. Think about those patients that don't. That's the scary part.
Well, how many people died because of that?
Honey, I'm scared of that hospital. I don't care what you I have never heard good things, I'm sorry. But that was last week. So she ended up, the doctor wanted to put her on Xarelto and she said no, because there was no antidote. She was like, no, I'm not taking this because if I have to take this other thing, I know you can reverse it if I should have a bleeding problem. So I don't blame people for it. You have to be careful about your own health. But she actually ended up, she's not on it. I don't think she's taking it now. She still was taking Coumadin before. And then, because the antidote didn't come out to the end of last year, probably like September or something like that. So it's crazy. But patients don't understand that's something that you got to think about because that can happen to you. You just be living your life, doing your thing, and all of a sudden everything changes because they can't reverse that. You just keep bleeding.